Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds, and welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news everywhere from Bloodhaven to Asteroid M and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. How you doing, Steve?
Not too bad this week, Mike. Took advantage of the nice long weekend, took a little relaxing time with the family, and now we're here on a Tuesday after the chaos of the start of school.
Yes. Normally, we do this on Sunday nights. If we can't do it Sunday, we push it till Monday. This week was extra long weekend and extra busy for both Steve and I, so we pushed it to today. Welcome to a rare, most likely rare, Tuesday night episode of the Multiverse Report. And also, welcome to anyone watching us on Twitch. This is our first live stream on Twitch. Usually we've been doing YouTube, and we're trying something different into the live stream world. And we know Twitch is big into that, or Twitch is made for live streaming. And so we are happy to be here and happy to have anybody that may be watching us tonight. Talk about a bunch of nerdy stuff.
Anyone catching us on YouTube, though, we will still be uploading all the videos to YouTube. We just won't be live there. So feel free, if that's where you're subscribed, it'll still come to you. So you're good to go.
Yep. And also in podcast form, of course, also.
As always.
So I got to say, even though we are 2 days later than normal, I feel like this was kind of a light-ish week for news. We didn't get a ton of major drops or anything like that. Usually I feel like even sometimes if we're a day late, if we do a Monday show, we're overwhelmed with the amount of additional news that has come out Sunday night and Monday. But we got a manageable amount here, but nonetheless still worth talking about. So we're going to start it off with Marvel. Not a ton of news from Marvel Entertainment this week, although we did get a new Marvel movie. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings opened up this weekend, only in theaters. There's no Disney Plus alternative, which is why I haven't seen it.
Yep.
Steve, have you seen it?
Neither have I.
Yeah.
It was kind of the elephant in the room for Marvel over the week. Like, it was leading up to it, it was a big question as to what the reception was going to be, how it was going to do opening weekend, and it looks like they racked in almost 100 million, which I don't know, Mike. Do you think that's a success in the current COVID times?
I mean, it's on track to be the highest grossing movie of the year. And I think it's certainly a success, considering the global pandemic that we've been going through. The question is it a success? I don't know. I can't, was it the Bob Chapek from Disney?
Yeah, the other Bob.
Who referred to this movie as an experiment a few weeks ago. Much to the offense of a number of the cast members, I think, didn't really like being referred to as an experiment.
Go figure.
Which makes sense for sure. So I guess, like I was saying, the big question is, if this was an experiment, was it a successful experiment? I think it was certainly successful box office wise. It looks like it's gonna outpace Black Widow. And maybe if Black Widow wasn't being undercut by Disney Plus sales, then Disney Plus or Black Widow would have seen the same kind of numbers that Shang-Chi is looking to do.
It's a weird situation because, if it was a test, it probably did pass it.
Yeah.
And that's both a blessing and a curse for those of us like you and I. Because I really did like that Black Widow day and date on Disney Plus. Like, it really worked well. But if it's not in the cards, then we're stuck. I think the test was that they were going to utilize a 45-day window post-release. So 45 days from the day it debuted in theaters, Shang-Chi will be on Disney Plus. They haven't announced whether it's going to be Premier Access or some bonus, like not the full $30 or whatever the pricing will be, but it will be on Disney Plus in one way, shape, or form within a month and a half of the release, which is astonishing compared to normal release schedules when back in the historical era of Remember how long it was to get a VHS of something?
Oh my God, it was years. It was so long before things came out on like VHS or early DVD or whatever. Like, oh my gosh.
I remember watching Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park. I remember, I'm like, when can I see this again? What happened?
I know. Yeah, things would be like re-released in theaters before they were out on like a home, any kind of home entertainment. So yeah, I feel like it's not. I don't think it's a coincidence that the same weekend that Shang-Chi opened and does big pandemic numbers, Sony moves Venom, Let There Be Carnage, up a couple weeks. It had just recently delayed Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, and now it's undelaying it or slightly less delaying it by moving it back up a couple weeks. I guess I don't know what the difference is there, really. Like, it's already there. Just keep it there. Who cares? You're just confusing your audience as to when it's coming out, basically. But I don't know that they would have made that move. I think a lot of studios were looking at this movie, Shang-Chi, as kind of a litmus test to see if audiences were comfortable going to theaters. Now, I don't necessarily think that the audience is there for Sony's Venom Let There Be Carnage the same way that it's there for an MCU movie.
Right.
So again, I think if Black Widow wasn't also on Disney Plus, I think a lot of more people probably would have gone to see it in the theater. This is an example of an MCU movie not being available anywhere else, and people are flocking to the theaters to see it more than they have been in a while. I don't know that that's going to work for other franchises, to be honest with you.
Right, and I mean, I don't know if anyone quite has the panache of an MCU movie, and it's certainly not the hit or miss nature of what we've seen out of the Sony villainverse.
Yeah,
mostly.
I don't know that there's another franchise that could pull this off during the pandemic. I don't think Fast 9 did this. I think Fast 9 came in less. They're a major franchise. I mean, you'd think DC could be a contender, but Warner Brothers also is releasing everything on HBO Max at the same time. You don't even have to pay for that, so that's even more of an undercut than the Disney Plus deal with Black Widow.
Right.
And then you have something like
the panache of Star Wars
franchise. Maybe Star Wars. Maybe Star Wars could do it if they had a movie coming out.
If we were 2 Star Wars movies ago, we probably could. Like, we could probably bank on it. After what we saw with the reception of Rise of Skywalker and the albeit misguided reception of The Last Jedi,
controversial.
Yeah. The how Star Wars is received in movie form seems to be riding a roller coaster, and I think it's a good thing we're getting this break. Similar to what I know you've talked about on the pod before, that you needed that break in the MCU before this flood. Like, if it wasn't for that break, we probably would be getting burnt out. And now, like, there's a ton of content, but we have a ton of time. So
yeah. No, I was straight up burned out on the MCU after Endgame and Far From Home. I was like, okay, great. And same for Star. I've always been on the team of Star Wars. When they said they were going to release a Star Wars movie a year, I was like, that seems like a lot. I always liked that Star Wars would go away for a long time and be nothing, and then come back, and we're all excited for it. Like, a movie a year, I think, didn't work for a number of reasons, especially when the studio was so adamant about sticking to it no matter what. When it starts affecting the product, maybe you should rethink your distribution plan a little bit. Anyway, I look forward to seeing Shang-Chi on Disney Plus 45 days from now. If I have to pay $20, I'll pay $20 to see it when I can see it. But where you and I are is a high transmission rate, much like most other areas of the country. So you and I on the same page about not being super comfortable going to a theater quite yet. But who knows? Who knows what the future will bring? Fingers are crossed for lower COVID numbers in the future. Moving out of Marvel into DC, we got a huge announcement from DC, and it's not about one particular movie or franchise. It's about every movie and every franchise that they have going over there, because we got an announcement about DC Fandome, the second year of their all virtual convention. It was very successful the first year. This one is happening on October 16th. And we got basically confirmation of things that we thought we were going to see, and announcement of just so much stuff. And I'm about to say a lot of things right now, and it's not even everything that they announced. It's not even talking about the comic stuff that they announced. This is just like movies and TV and video game stuff. We are going to get on October 16th, and whatever the next show of the Multiverse Report we do after October 16th is basically going to be an entire DC show. So buckle up for that. Get ready now.
No, you know that's going to be the week that like everything else drops too, and we're going to be stuck here for like 2 hours or break it into multiple shows or something.
Yeah, we'll have to do a two-parter. Yeah. And hey, maybe we have to do a Fandome recap show in addition to another regular Nerd News Week show.
And
but I feel like a lot of times when like big drops like this happen when they're scheduled, like the other studios are like, okay, we're gonna pull back and wait for the next news cycle, you know. So if Marvel and whatever else if they're checking their calendars, but be like, let's wait a couple more days and then we'll drop whatever trailer or whatever.
Yeah. Worst case though, you can count on us doing, you know, a Fandome recap, a D23 recap, a Celebration recap if they ever hold that again. You know, any of the big stuff, there's probably enough for us to talk about. So we'll probably talk about it.
Definitely enough to fill an hour.
Yeah.
So, anyway, buckle up, nerds. On October 16th, we are getting a new trailer for The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, directed by Matt Reeves. We're getting first looks at The Rock and Black Adam. Super excited about that. First looks at The Flash, Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, the animated League of Super Pets movie that I'm not ironically super excited about, and Aquaman the Lost Kingdom, the sequel to Aquaman, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. As far as the television side, we're going to get teasers and first looks at their CW lineup, as well as HBO Max exclusives Peacemaker, Doom Patrol, and Titans. I feel like the season of Titans is going to be probably wrapped up by then, and Doom Patrol will maybe be close to the end. I'm not sure how many episodes are in Doom Patrol, but we're still getting, a panel with both the cast and creators of those shows. Also, panels on everything else from video games. We're getting information about Gotham Knights, which they announced last year, and I'm super excited about. Also, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, another video game they announced last year with an awesome trailer. And their animation studio, Harley Quinn Season 3, HBO Max exclusive, and also updates on Aquaman, King of Atlantis shows, Young Justice, Batman, Caped Crusader, and I think all of those, or at least Aquaman and the Batman show, also were announced that they're going to debut on Cartoon Network, as well as being HBO Max shows. So, anyway, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. Steve, I'm a DC guy. I'm, maybe Twitch people watching this for the first time, maybe they don't know. Maybe they can't tell by our shirts. I don't know.
Yeah, seriously.
But I'm more of a DC guy. Steve's more of a Marvel guy. We both like we both like both companies, obviously, because that's possible. But so I am excited about literally everything on this list. Is there anything for you that jumps out specifically that you are excited to see or get more information on?
Well, first off, anyone who was watching and not listening in podcast form saw me smile when Mike said The Batman. Because for some reason, I still can't get over the title of it just being The Batman. I don't know why, it just makes me smile every time. It seems weird to me. But I digress. Actually getting so when you say first looks, are we getting like actual trailer shots of Black Adam, Shazam, Flash, all that?
I guess I don't know. I guess I would say that it's possible. The article that I read only confirmed a trailer for The Batman.
Okay, so it's probably like teaser stuff off of that. We'll get a couple, maybe
I would
some
say
snippets.
Maybe some footage or a teaser. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. The Flash has been filming for a while.
Right.
Black Adam, I think, is wrapped filming. Shazam recently wrapped filming. I think this past week they announced that Shazam Fury of the Gods had stopped filming. We know the voice cast for League of Super Pets, so I think stuff's probably being recorded, so it's possible that they could put something together. Yeah. Aquaman just started filming recently, so I would say it's less likely we're going to see much of Aquaman, maybe some behind-the-scenes stuff, but I could see them putting together a teaser for Black Adam, maybe The Flash, and maybe Shazam also. But out of those, I would say most likely Black Adam, because that was the first one to finish.
Yep.
And also, I know The Rock made a big kind of speech at Fandome last year about how excited he is and stuff. So I think if he has his say, there'll be some kind of something cut together to present this year.
Yeah, that'll.
Also,
go
ahead. I was just gonna say, because he's been signed on to play Black Adam in this movie for like 10 years or something. Like he signed on to do this so long ago that I feel like, you know, for him it's like we are almost there. It's just out of reach. Let's get this going. You know, he probably wants to, you know, get it in front of fans' eyes.
Can I start promoting something else instead of this, please?
Yeah, exactly.
Doom Patrol I'm always excited for. I'm cleaning up the end of season 2 here, like getting ready for I think, what is it, next week it debuts or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I think it's either next week or the week after we're getting Doom Patrol and Why the Last Man at the same within a week of each other at least.
Yeah. So that'll be crazy. I think that's what the 16th is Why the Last Man?
I thought it was the 13th, but I don't think it's this weekend. I think it's next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we got to wait another week to talk about it. Darn. Damn it. Titans has held up this season so far. For the couple of episodes that I've watched, I'm not caught up on it, but it seems to be, you know, following in the vein, like good to watch, enjoyable. So that'll be solid. Yeah. Peacemaker is just intriguing as to what the hell they're going to do with that.
I know.
Anyone who hasn't seen the Suicide Squad, Cena's portrayal of Peacemaker is just amazingly obscure, and I love it. It'll be interesting to see what direction, whether he is the protagonist or just a point of view character that there's no real protagonist, or how they pull this off.
Yeah, and you know, we're gonna have the chance to talk about Peacemaker a little bit more from a different angle later, but I think I am also very excited about this show because I think in the movie The Suicide Squad, it portrays him as very kind of a one-note, I am devoted to this ideal.
Yep.
I love peace so much I will kill for it. And he does quite brutally.
Numerous times.
But I think the show, you know, like, you know, any series, you have more time to spend with characters, more time to go in depth on their thoughts and feelings and worldviews and outlooks. Excuse me. And I think if you go deeper into Peacemaker, you see that he's probably very complicated character.
Right.
And I think we might have, I can't remember if I said this to you when we were doing our Suicide Squad review or on another episode, or I just said it to you in real life outside of the podcast. I mean, heaven forbid you and I talk about nerd stuff when microphones aren't turned on and we're not being recorded, but
we have to stop it until Sunday night at 9, and then we can go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the Suicide Squad, 3, 2, 1, when Peacemaker kills Rick Flag, and Rick Flag's last words are looking him dead in the eye and saying, "Peacemaker, what a joke." And then dying, you know, you see a bit of doubt in Peacemaker's face, in John Cena's face. And I think that look that we see on his face is going to be the basis for the entire Peacemaker show. Like oh my God, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Who am I? I think that's probably going to be the driving factor of the show, while at the same time, it being written and mostly directed by James Gunn will be hilarious and over the top. And, you know, he's one of those directors that can really walk the line between heartwarming and over the top insanity. Yeah, so anyway, I'm really excited about that show. Sorry to take the thunder away from you.
Oh, no.
Have you watched, I know that I've been throwing so much DC content at you lately. Have you watched any of the Harley Quinn animated series?
I haven't, solely for the fact that I have so many other animated things I'm trying to work through. Now that Bad Batch is done, I've got a spot that I may be able to pull together for Harley Quinn. But, you know, we got the tail end.
Gap in my schedule.
I got a half-hour gap that I can watch an episode every once in a while, and we'll see what happens. That's why I'm still choking through Doom Patrol. Like, it's phenomenal. I just can't find the time to watch it.
Yeah, no, I know, dude. There's so much. As we know from talking about this stuff week to week, there's so much nerd content out there, and you can't get to all of it. You got to pick and choose. The Harley Quinn season 3 is something. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just because it was chronological on the rundown. That Gotham Knights is very intriguing.
Oh yeah.
Is that going to be in the style of the Arkham games?
Or it definitely looks like it's in the style of the Arkham games. It's from the studio, I believe, that did Arkham Origins. Like they did a prequel game in between Arkham City and Arkham Knight. I'm excited about it because I'm such a big Batman fan. I'm a big fan of the Bat family. And this is a Bat family game. Batman's not in it, from what I know. Maybe he'll show up at the end in like a twist, but you've bounced back and forth between being Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, or Red Hood, and that's super exciting to me because I don't know, like I like that they're devoting an entire video game to these, side characters more or less. Right. I mean, they all have had their own stories where they're the main character, but they're at the end of the day, they are side characters to Batman. That's their point of origin anyway. So I'm excited that we're getting an entire game based on these characters that are so beloved by the fans, but often overlooked in pieces of media like this, where they're like, oh, we're not going to make a Nightwing game. We're going to make a Batman game, or we're not going to make a Nightwing movie. We're going to make another Batman movie.
Right, and it's different with those characters compared to like doing the Miles Morales Spider-Man, because with that they can just say Spider-Man, and whether it says Miles Morales over the top, it still says Spider-Man, and they're still going to sell like hotcakes. Like they take a character very similar to that, where they're beloved by the rest of the fan base, but not really known. Like before that game, I guarantee half the people that played it had no idea who Miles was, and maybe after they played it, I don't even know if they still knew who Miles was because I haven't played it yet. But like. It's I'm an Xbox guy, so
bummer.
Yeah, that's like the one downfall of the console wars was the loss of Spidey. But it's like when they announced that, I was like, that's just great that they're doing that with this alternate version who is as beloved in the fandom as Peter Parker is. It will be interesting to see. I mean, Miles has at least been the star of one movie in Into the Spider-Verse, the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time. It will be interesting to see how this game does if it's a Batman game without Batman, because like obviously like fans of the books, fans of the comics, fans of these characters will buy and play the hell out of this game, and people like me, like I just said, so appreciative that they're even making this game. The casual video game fans that liked playing Arkham City and Arkham Knight, like, will they buy a Batman game without Batman in it? I guess that remains to be seen. I don't personally care, because I'm excited that I get to play it. If it's super successful and they make a sequel, wonderful. But the fact that I get one, I'm very thankful for. Combine that and Midnight Suns, and we've got a solid video game. Because that's from the studio that did XCOM. Like, we've got two solid track records on video games based on comic characters. So hopefully they hold up and we end up with the Spider-Man or Arkham games instead of some of the other ones we've seen.
Yeah, Avengers. That's all I'll say about that. Have you played that Avengers game?
No, I'm waiting until it goes on Steam for like $5 and I'll try.
Yeah, I bought it and it's like fun, but I'm not very far into it because I played like a few levels and I was like, this is fun, but it's not amazing, and then I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I should, just to finish it, I guess, but I don't know. All right, moving out of DC and moving into I guess a miscellaneous kind of world, but Steve, as big of a DC guy as I am, this might be the story that I'm most excited about this week. This past week, we got news that a film project series, I guess I think it's a film, but we don't really know, called Return of the Rocketeer will be coming to Disney Plus. David Oyelowo, I even wrote it phonetically, and I still don't know if I said it right. David Oyelowo is producing a new film with his wife Jessica. No word or not whether or not it's a sequel and or a reboot to the 1991 film The Rocketeer, but it's possible. It's being written by a guy named Ed Record. He wrote Now You See Me and a few episodes of Jessica Jones. And it's reportedly going to be about a retired Tuskegee airman who becomes the new Rocketeer. And it's possible that David Oyelowo will be starring in it as well. That yet remains to be seen. For those of you who don't know, the Rocketeer is a comic book character that first debuted in 1982. It's created by a guy named Dave Stevens. It takes place in the 1930s, and it's about a stunt pilot that finds a mysterious jetpack and uses it to fight Nazis. Now, Steve, I don't know your history with this character. I loved that movie when it came out in 1991. I was a little kid. I thought it was amazing because, think about it contextually. I'm a kid that loves superheroes. 1991, we're getting nothing for superhero movies. We get Tim Burton's Batman, and we're getting Tim Burton's Batman Returns the following year. Yep. Other than that, we're getting nothing. I don't think they're making. If they're making Superman movies at this point, they're bad. I don't remember when Superman 4 came out.
You had a sprinkling of Ninja Turtles in there, and that was about it.
Yeah, true. Maybe Ninja Turtles, or they're if we haven't gotten them already. I don't know the date of the Ninja Turtles movies.
It was 90 and 92 for one and
two. Okay. So we got a Ninja Turtles, but still, few and far between. Not like today. Nobody, if podcasts had existed in 1991, we're not getting enough nerdy announcements to fill up an hour of the Multiverse Report. So I'm hungry for anything that feels like a superhero movie. And this came out, and it's a cool guy with a cool jetpack and a cool looking helmet on. I had never read the comic. I didn't know he was a comic book character, but I loved that movie. There was, should be mentioned that there was a Disney, I think it was Disney Junior, did a short-lived series called The Rocketeer, where the original character's daughter became a new Rocketeer, I guess. And the actor from the original Rocketeer, I guess, voiced her father in that cartoon. So that was, at the time, a canonical sequel.
Nice.
I kind of hope that they're doing the same thing with this movie, and that there's some kind of reference to the original film. Who knows? But Steve, how do you feel about the Rocketeer, or the return of the Rocketeer, I should say?
I'm excited about it. Partially because, and I guess we don't know what end of the rating spectrum it's going to be. It's based on the Rocketeer, right. So who knows? But my initial brain was like, this, by the time this debuts, this could be something cool to watch with my kid and whatnot, and have that same kind of moment you had where it's like, dude with a jetpack, this is great.
Exactly.
But no, it seems it's. I think it was I don't know how it was received, but it was kind of a cult classic for kids our age, at least.
I think it was considered a flop when it came out. I don't think it did very well. But I think I saw it in the theater. I feel like I remember seeing it in the theater and then watching it on TV or something at once. But yeah, I don't think it did well. But yeah, cult classic pretty instantly, I believe. Yeah.
No, it seems intriguing. It does have a through line to our previously talked about Doom Patrol, because the original also starred Mr. James Bond himself, Timothy Dalton. Who is the chief in Doom Patrol.
Right, he was the bad guy.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
Oh, man.
There's, wheels within wheels, man. So, no, it seems intriguing. Seems like it'll be interesting. So
It was also a movie that enabled or continued my childhood crush on Jennifer Connelly as I met her in Labyrinth, and was immediately enamored with her when I was a small child. And then as she appeared in The Rocketeer, I was like, oh, it's the Labyrinth lady. I'm down for this.
The Labyrinth lady. That's amazing.
Labyrinth lady.
Oh, God. That's great.
So anyway, I am super pumped about that. And obviously there's no premiere date or anything because it's super early. They just announced that it's being written and produced. But yeah, Return of the Rocketeer. Can't wait. I just thought he's just got such a cool look. The helmet is so cool with the giant fin and the weird
Yeah, it's like an art Deco helmet almost.
Yeah, I love the whole like look and feel of like the Art Deco. There's like another term that I'm trying to pull and I can't think of, but just like, retro 1930s,
Yep.
1920s kind of like look to it, like the button up short leather jacket and the puffy
Yep.
pants. I don't know, it's just great, just a cool look, and I know I want more of it. So awesome.
Well, we're gonna be getting more soon. Well, soonish.
Yeah, that's true. Soonish, we hope. Moving on, we're switching up the flow of this show a little bit tonight. We're doing we usually end with comics. We felt like that was kind of like giving comics the short end of the stick, so we don't want to do that anymore because we love comics. We don't want to talk about them as they're part of the show. So we're moving into the realm of comic books, ladies and gentlemen. Kicking things off with a Kickstarter call out. We haven't done one of these in a couple weeks, but we always try at least every other week ish to shout out a project that's currently on Kickstarter. This is a campaign by a guy named Cam Kirkow, and the campaign is for a 28-page comic called Gilgamesh Eternal #1. Now, Cam is the writer of this book. It's got art by Kostas Pantoulas and letters by Mira Mortal. Gilgamesh is one of the oldest stories in the world. If you're not familiar with it, Gilgamesh, the God King, ruled over Uruk as a tyrant until he was humbled by the beast man Enkidu. These are words that I have never said out loud.
Well, you weren't allowed in Mesopotamia, so.
Yeah. With Enkidu's support, Gilgamesh earns the love of his people. Finally, a man who has everything, he travels the world in search of greater glory, but he searches too far and makes many enemies who will make sure he loses everything. Now, this is basically a reimagining of the classic epic of Gilgamesh as a 28-page comic book. You guys should really go on Kickstarter and check this out. If you just Google Gilgamesh Eternal on Kickstarter, it'll take you right to the page. The art for this is pretty incredible, very detailed, very epic looking. It's very suiting to the to this tale. And I don't know, it just launched a few days ago. They're already, I think, over 50% of their funding, and they have like 20-ish days left, so there's plenty of time. I like that it's kind of like a stripped down campaign. There's not like a ton of rewards. There's like maybe 4 or 5 different rewards, and they're all kind of like variant cover, I think, based or art based, comic art based, and it's like really like, no frills, no bullshit. Just you want this comic, here it is, and I appreciate that, and it seems to be working out very successful. Kickstarter is something that I am currently kind of trying to grapple with and figure out the ins and outs of. So seeing somebody seemingly be successful with such a no bullshit campaign is, I don't know, inspiring to me, because I'm here trying to think of all these like crazy rewards I can offer, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't have to do that. So anyway, Steve, have you had a chance to check this out, the link at all, and check out any of this campaign?
And it's the alternate cover I really like. I don't know, it's like the perfect foil to the standard cover. Standard cover, like you said, very stripped down, very like, here is your God King, and that's it. Whereas the other one is very colorful and flashy and all sorts of things going on, a little more ornate, and I don't know, both of them look great. The interior art it's very stylistic. It's one of those where I don't know if I ever would have like caught on to it, but then you look at it and it fits what the Epic of Gilgamesh, like this, literally the oldest story known to man. It's fitting to tell that tale. So, seems intriguing. I'll probably be popping a backing on it.
Yeah, the interior art kind of reminded me of those, like, I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons guy, but I've seen all those like old original kind of like booklets and pamphlets or campaigns for Dungeons and Dragons. It kind of reminded me of the art on the cover of those books.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, no,
just to give the listener a visual image.
Yeah, like the old AD&D type art in the monster manual and stuff. That definitely fits. Yeah, I'm with you there. I am the D&D nerd of the two of us, for the record, for anybody who's wondering.
Yeah. I should try that out. I've never even really tried it, but
I know a guy.
Yeah, you.
A couple other of our friends too. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that. Yeah, you
Yep.
have like a weekly thing.
Yeah. So.
Well, maybe someday I'll drop in.
Sounds like a plan.
Can you do a drop in, or do you have to like commit to like a whole thing?
No, we could set up a one shot. Yeah.
All right, cool. I actually heard recently.
No. I thought it was going to be the perfect segue. I was going to say, speaking of one shots, but we weren't there yet.
Sorry. No, we got more comic stuff to talk about.
That's what I was. I looked over at the rundown. I was like, we're not there yet. I ruined the segue.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. I actually saw someone on Twitter say, just real quick, that you can play a mini D&D campaign with your Alexa if you have an Alexa at home. You can ask her to run. Yeah. I don't know how. I saw a passing thing on Twitter that somebody said it's like a one-on-one, very abbreviated D&D campaign that you can play with your Alexa, which is fun. So I'm gonna try that out. That'll be my dip my toe in the water.
There you go.
Yeah. So we got a pretty big comic announcement from Marvel this week. They announced 8 new miniseries, and a couple days ago they announced a new digital exclusive. We got Devil's Reign, Avengers Forever, Timeless, X Lives and X Deaths of Wolverine. Those are 2 different miniseries. A new She-Hulk miniseries, something called Reckoning War, and a new Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. All those sound cool. I know varying information about each of them. And we also got a digital-only X-Men book being written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Declan Shalvey. Now, we talked about recently, Jonathan Hickman is leaving the X-Men books to write a book for Substack. Apparently, he's sticking around at least long enough to do this digital one. We don't really know. Oh, it said September. It's September 9th, I think. So this week, it's dropping. We don't know how long it is or how many issues or even what it's called. I don't think they've announced it yet, but it's interesting that this is coming out in digital form right as Hickman is leaving the X-Men books. I thought that was strange. So, Steve, you're more the Marvel guy. Not that I'm not a Marvel guy, but what do you think about these announcements? Which are you most excited for? And are there any that you don't care about?
Well, you know me. X Lives and X Deaths Wolverine will be top of my list just because I'm a child of the 90s. Wolverine was, of course, my spirit animal as a child because of that. That'll be intriguing because apparently it's in the same style of House of X, Powers of 10. That's what it was. One of them was X, one of them was 10, and I always get confused. Devil's Reign, actually, because it's Zdarsky still on a Daredevil-centric book, is going to be really intriguing. That's a crossover with I can't remember who else is going to be in that, but it's Daredevil and a couple of the other Heroes for Hire city characters doing their thing that Zdarsky's on. So that's going to be very solid. Avengers Forever is probably in Timeless. I don't really. Probably not going to sub to them just because I don't. It's one of those where if there's a lot of hype around them, I'll probably grab them, but otherwise.
Yeah. I thought it was cool because Timeless, wasn't Marvel called Timeless before they were called Marvel, like comics? Weren't they called Timeless Comics or Timely Comics or something like that? I don't know.
Might have been something like that.
It felt similar to me.
Yeah.
But Timeless is a Kang the Conqueror story, which I just learned recently. I wasn't sure what that was about, but that seems very much
right. Well,
seemingly to tie in what they're doing in the MCU. It's like, hey, let's put Kang out into something. Front and center here.
So we can between that and She-Hulk as well. You've got 2 that are
D+
very
series.
kind of on point for what's coming. And then Reckoning War, we're as crazy as it sounds, that Fantastic Four movie isn't as far off as it seems. So maybe they're starting to set everything up and get the plans in motion for that. And I can always be excited for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. That's just always a fun read.
I know. I'm surprised that hasn't blown up. Have they ever made a cartoon or something like that? It seems just
not that I remember.
Perfect. It just seems perfect for a kids Disney Channel show or something, or a Disney Plus little kid's cartoon or something about a girl and adventures of a girl and her dinosaur. That just seems could be perfect.
And we're back on our why doesn't Disney make more like mid-range kid stuff?
Yeah, both Disney and DC, Warner Brothers. Why aren't you making legit superhero animated movies for kids?
Right.
There should be G-rated Superman movies coming out once a year. Like, what are you doing?
Give me that G-rated Titans movie or like G-rated Titans show.
I know. When you got Teen Titans Go, which is like Looney Tunes meet superheroes. But yeah, I don't know why they're not going all Spider. You know, you don't even have to go as in depth as Spider-Verse. You don't have to like match that animation style. Just take it seriously. Put some money into like a G or PG rated movie about one of your kid-friendly characters, and you will make tons of money. I don't know why you're not doing that. And you'll sell tons of toys. Aren't you only doing this to sell toys in the end of the day? Studios, come on. You're all greedy, aren't you? Come on. You want money.
Yep.
Sell those toys. All right. Wrapping up comics this week, we got some big books coming out. We got Batman 112, Batman Catwoman number 7, another Daredevil 34, a book that I had completely forgotten about, but noticed it in the list this week, Savage Avengers 24. I'm not sure if that run is close to wrapping up. This is possibly the end. It's got to be. I don't know. I followed it for a couple issues and it wasn't going where I wanted to go, and it fell off. I don't know. We got Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 14, Swamp Thing number 7, Ram V continuing his wonderful Swamp Thing story, and we got Spider-Man the Todd McFarlane Omnibus coming out in hardcover. Which I can only assume is everything he ever drew for Spider-Man. That would be quite a big book, I feel like. That'll be a hefty guy.
Yeah, it's really kind of insane to think, because you're hitting the Wayback Machine on a lot of that stuff. So
Yeah, a lot. So I'm not sure what's in it, but definitely notable for any Spider-Man fans out there. Steve, is there anything that's on this list that you're pumped about? Is there anything that you're looking forward to picking up at your comic book store this week?
Nothing that's nothing listed there that's on my pull. I don't know if there's anything that was I didn't get a chance to actually look at it in depth, but I'm still riding out that Daredevil run so that I can get it in trade when it's done, because everything I read the first couple of issues on Unlimited, and I was like, I'm just gonna hold this until I can get a physical copy and read through it, because that just seemed like a book I wanted to make sure I had the run on.
Yeah, I felt the same thing, because I heard when it started, when he was only a few issues in, some other commentator saying that it's great because every issue ends on a cliffhanger. I was like, oh, well, then I'll just wait for the trade so I can read everything straight through and not have to wait a month for the next one.
But he seems to get that character, like, in Marvel terms, like Jason Aaron got Thor, or like Donny Cates got Venom, like those that kind of, like, the guy writing it understands what he's writing and just feels right.
Yeah, a very complete vision for the character that he's writing. Yeah, which isn't always the case. So I'm excited. I don't know. I've been following Batman Catwoman, the Tom King story, which is cool. It's also like takes place in like 3 different timelines, kind of, so it's a little bit confusing because it jumps around back and forth, but I do love every time I get to see the Phantasm from Batman Mask of the Phantasm introduced to DC continuity. It always makes me excited. So even if I don't really understand what's happening and I have to read it multiple times, anything with the Phantasm slicing somebody up, I'm down for. So that's all for comics this week. High Republic.
So nice. The one thing that wasn't listed and wasn't on pull, it finally came out. It had been on back order for it was supposed to debut last month, was the first trade for the High Republic. So that showed up in the mail. Showed up in the mail today. So anyone interested in that, it's available now. It had been delayed. Who knows if it was publishing or whatever. But it's finally out, and they probably, it's probably dropped at your local comic shop and wherever you can find various Star Wars merchandise, because it's a really good story. It was good enough that I read it and wanted to buy it. And good enough that I read it on Unlimited and then wanted to buy it in trade, and now I'm
Yeah.
able to catch up to my poll. So.
All right, I'm gonna have to look for that when I go. I think I'm gonna try to go tomorrow because tomorrow's Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. So I have to try to see if I can snag a copy of that as well while I'm there, because I just hear great things about it, and I'm always down for new and interesting Star Wars takes. So
Sounds
have to
like
check that out. Moving in, we're gonna close this episode with a discussion on our one shots. These are maybe could be considered smaller stories that we're not gonna super dive into, but enough to mention and enough to chat about. So we're gonna go back and forth and read all these headlines. Then we're gonna go back and kind of talk about them a little bit, see which ones strike our fancy. Steve, why don't you kick it off?
Sure. First up would be the trailer for The Wheel of Time has officially dropped. The Amazon 2022 series will be coming out, and now we got a first look at it.
All right, and speaking of first looks, we also got a first look at Jason Momoa in two new Aquaman costumes, and we also got a first look at Patrick Wilson as Ocean Master in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Following that up, we did finally get the trailer for what had been teased, the Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales Halloween special, which had me chuckling at least 3 or 4 times during it, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
I got a rumor that I saw a few times on Twitter today. We don't talk about rumors a ton, but this is something that's very exciting, if true, that Bane would be making his DCEU debut in the HBO Max series Peacemaker, possibly played by Dave Bautista, Drax the Destroyer himself as Bane.
Only if he gets to talk through a plastic cup. Last week we talked about The Matrix 4, which was Resurrections, I believe was the official title of it. We got the full trailer this Thursday for that as well. Apparently it was a week of trailers. That will be debuting in December.
We are getting the full trailer this Thursday.
Hey,
we have not gotten it yet. We've got a teaser.
Right.
Sorry if yeah.
I can't read it.
And sorry. Last but not least, there was an announcement this week that Comixology will fully be integrated with Amazon, its corporate overlords. That means Comixology.com itself is going away. Everything will be strictly integrated with Amazon. So if you liked how that app looked, if you liked how the website looked, all that's going away, and it's kind of being dissolved into Amazon, which I guess there's probably some good stuff comes out of that, and there's also probably some bad stuff that comes out of that as well. And that's it. So Steve, out of all these stories, all these one shots here, how do you feel about it? What are you most excited about? What are you most into? And what do you want to dig into a little bit here?
Well, I definitely want to at least get your take on Wheel of Time. Just as someone who I know you haven't read the books or had any history with it at all, watching a 2.5-minute trailer of what the hell it looked like to you, because I can understand it being very confusing to a lot of people.
Yeah, it looked cool. It just seems
right.
Like our mutual friend was recently telling me about how much he loves these books, reads them like once a year or whatever, and is just so into it. And the way he was describing it made it seem like, oh, this seems like something that is impossible to translate to another medium. But I don't know. It looks like they're doing a good job. Again, I haven't read the books. I don't know anything about this. It looks enticing.
Right.
I know what you said, how it's from different points of view, or is told from different points of view of different characters. That seemed like I was kind of picking up on that in the trailer a little bit. It just seems like there's a lot going on. And it is a series. We don't know how many episodes there are yet. So obviously, sometimes when you see a trailer for a movie and you're like, this looks like there's too much going on, you get nervous because, you got 2 hours or whatever to fit all that in. When it's a series, you don't get that nervous because you have however many episodes. So it can be all those things. It has time to be all those things. But I don't know. This is like a wait and see thing for me because, again, it looks cool. But it really looks like Amazon is trying to be one way or the other. I feel like everybody, once Game of Thrones was ending, everyone was like, we got to get we have to get the next Game of Thrones.
Yep.
Whether it's Netflix with The Witcher, or Amazon, I feel like is trying two different ways with Wheel of Time and also with Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And I don't know. We'll see if it pans out. I hope that it does. I don't know. From everything I've heard about the books, then this story should be epic and huge and great. And there's a lot of great actors in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll give it a whirl for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how, like you said, Amazon's just throwing their hat in the ring in a couple in both of Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones situations, because Lord of the Rings was the original, and then Wheel of Time is the precursor, and then Martin wrote his omnibus of works, or is in the process of writing them if he ever finishes the rest of the series.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm not holding my breath. But
no.
Well, Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan never finished the series. He actually passed, and that's what everyone for the longest time was afraid of with Martin, is like he's not going to finish them.
Yeah.
So Jordan, I believe, wrote through book 11 or 12, and then the last two were done with all of his amazing notes by Brandon Sanderson, who has his own crazy fantasy epic that's actually really good as well. But yeah, the trailer made it seem quite faithful to what I would be expecting out of trying to like our friend said, who as soon as you said that, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know you did, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to wrap it all around anything, but I think from what we're seeing in the trailer, there's a good shot they're gonna.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, looks good. I'll just have to.
Yeah.
I will defer to. As far as faithfulness, I will of course defer to you and our mutual friend. But it's the kind of thing where people like me won't care. We'll just, we just want it to be a good show. We're not going to care if it's faithful or not. But it seems like this property has enough devoted fans where they could be angered and turn their backs on the show if it doesn't do certain things the way they feel it should be done.
Oh, there would be a mob. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
I would like to briefly mention how excited I would be if Bane was in Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Mentioning that I'm a big Batman fan, you want to use any Batman villain, I'm down. Like that's, why I was excited about honestly both Suicide Squad movies, because like, oh wow, they're using a ton of like, D level Batman. We got a live action Killer Croc in the first Suicide Squad movie. Like that movie's not great, but we get to see a live action Killer Croc. We're probably never going to see that again, so that's noteworthy alone. So you give me any Batman villain in any property, whether or not he's fighting Batman, I'm down for that. And Bane is no exception. Bane, it was rumored for a while that, it was rumored that Dave Bautista was going to play Bane, or he had expressed interest in playing Bane, I believe, in a DC film, and James Gunn had offered him a role in the Suicide Squad, but he turned it down to do Army of the Dead for Netflix instead. And I guess I don't know if we're sure whether or not that role was going to be Bane. I feel like that would be a much different movie if Bane was in the Suicide Squad. Yeah. That would have definitely changed things around. But I'm down for this. My thing about Bane, he's been portrayed a number of times in live action. And this would be, I don't know, this wouldn't be any better. Bane canonically is Hispanic. And he has never been portrayed by a Hispanic actor. I like Dave Bautista I like him a lot, but he's not Hispanic. So that would continue that not being faithful to the comics. I think, like, why would you not, really? But aside from that, I think he would be great. He's a little bit older, which I think could play into the intellect version of Bane, which we don't always get. We got a little with Tom Hardy's version, plotting and scheming and, kind of breaking Batman, mentally before you break him physically, that kind of thing. I think he could bring a lot to that role, so that'd be cool. But again, it's a rumor. This is not confirmed at all. This could just be, I could be talking for 5 minutes about something that isn't even going to happen. But also, real quick, did you get a chance to look at the new Aquaman costumes? And
yeah, I didn't see anything about Momoa, but I did see Orb.
Oh yeah, you saw Patrick Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah, looking like Tom Hanks in the end of Castaway.
I was just gonna say, like, he just needed a volleyball and he would have been great.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were remaking Castaway under the DC banner.
Yeah. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I want to see Bruce Wayne stranded on a desert island for 2 hours. That would be cool.
Yes. That'd be great.
I think, yeah, it was. I think it's interesting immediately that, like, oh, where has he been? You know, has he been exiled on like a desert island, and so he can't use his Atlantean water powers or whatever, and he's been in exile, so he's grown this. Like that to me, that makes it like it's unexpected for him to look like that, and therefore where his character is unexpected for me, and that makes it immediately interesting. We're like, oh, I didn't expect this. What's this going to be? It raises questions for me about it.
Yep.
Also, I don't know why Aquaman needs a stealth suit. There were the 2 new costumes was like kind of like one was an update to the classic gold and green. Very similar to what we saw in the first one, but just slightly updated. And the other one was like a dark blue and blackish kind of like stealth suit. I guess I don't know why you need that. I think it certainly looks in the same vein as outfits we saw in the first movie. But I don't know. I feel like if you're going to give him a different costume, there's been plenty of comic books or adaptations in general of Aquaman where he's just shirtless. And I feel like Jason Momoa probably looks pretty good shirtless. Actually, we know he looks pretty good shirtless. He was shirtless for half the first movie. So I don't know. That's actually a classic Aquaman look. So why give him a stealth suit when you could just do something that he's already done? I don't know. There's also been
because he can't be stealth without a shirt on, man.
What's that?
He can't be stealth without a shirt on.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's going to attract too much attention with the shirt off. You're right. What am I thinking? I would love it, and I feel like they will never do this, but I would love. There's been versions of Aquaman where he has like a harpoon for a hand. I would love if he gets his hand cut off and has to go like Evil Dead 2, but instead of a chainsaw, just has to like put a harpoon on that thing. That would be awesome. But I feel like, they're probably going to play it safe with the star of their, they're probably going to play it safe with their billion-dollar franchise.
Right.
Yeah, and not write themselves into a hole of having to have a harpoon-handed guy.
No,
and even in the sequel to Evil Dead 2, they wrote that right out and gave him a metal hand and took that chainsaw right off his hand. So, like,
yeah,
there's not a great precedent for sticking with the weaponized hand.
Well, then there was Army of Darkness, and it was back. So, there's really no other way to take it other than, if Momoa goes full Bruce Campbell, I am completely in.
Yeah, that would be great. And then, and Aquaman versus Ash. Let's see that. Don't give me any more Freddy versus Jason. I want. That's like, I don't know how many more versus movies I need in my life. There's been plenty. Unless they start just giving you incredibly random ones, like Ash versus Aquaman. That would be sick. I would watch that stuff all the time. Give me, I don't know, Luke Skywalker versus
Nova.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't even think of anybody else. Yeah, but that's almost like too similar because they're both space related.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? We need like Darth Vader versus Robin or something, like, just random ones. I'd watch that stuff all day.
Namor against the Green Lantern. Sold.
Yeah, exactly. Did you get the chance to watch the teaser for The Matrix, or?
No, I did not.
It was really, I saw.
As you can tell by the fact that I didn't know there wasn't a trailer.
Oh yeah. There was a couple different iterations of it. I saw like a couple different short. Some were just like the green, code looking, and some words, and some was more like a visual thing. Some had a full-on shot of Keanu Reeves in a Neo-y fight pose, and some just had like a silhouette of him walking away from the camera. looked cool. There was some stuff that looked very Matrixy. There was red pill, blue pill stuff, and somebody with their mouth kind of stuck together, like that famous scene from The Matrix. So looks good. I'm excited to see the trailer on Thursday. I mean, we talked about it last week, how we each have our own relationships with The Matrix. I fell asleep watching the first one, so it's always been just kind of hard for me to get into based on that. But I am definitely going to watch the heck out of this new one, for sure. Nothing can stop me from seeing this. I think it's cool. I don't know, I like when they bring back... I feel like a lot of people are kind of down on, like sequels or reboots that take place so many years later but are also in the same timeline. I like that stuff. I like catching up with a character 20 years later and seeing what they've been up to, and
like living on
seeing
a rock in the ocean.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just like I think it's interesting from an acting perspective too, like Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves, like they have however long, 20 years, 15 years on these characters, and them revisiting them, they bring their own different outlook, their new, what kind of a different person they are. They're bringing a different humanity to that role that they're so familiar with. And where do these characters end up 20 years from now? I like that kind of stuff. Like,
yep.
Seeing old Han and Leia and Luke in the sequel trilogy, like I'm into that. For sure. So, and like I want the Rocketeer to be a continuation and not just like a complete reboot. Like I think that would be cool. I just like the world building aspect, I guess. Like why throw away an already built universe just to like when it's not going to contradict anything.
Right.
If you're writing a story that's going to contradict what happened in the first Matrix movie, then yeah, just make it a reboot. But if you're not, then just make it a continuation somehow. Still don't know how they come back to life, but that's in the name of the movie, Matrix 4 Resurrections. So I'll assume that we will find that out.
You could just do what they did with the X-Men franchise and rewrite everything in every movie, and then also do the one movie that was phenomenal as the 20-year jump.
Yeah, just not care about continuity at all.
Yeah, it's overrated.
Yeah, like show a character using the Phoenix Force in one movie, and then in a sequel to that movie showing her getting the Phoenix Force and having no idea what it is, or referencing that she's used it before.
Yeah, that'd be the one.
Yeah,
or one of the ones. Oh boy.
Oh man, I was so... This will be the last thing we talk about. I know we got to wrap up. I was so mad leaving the theater after seeing Dark Phoenix. Like I didn't have tons of high hopes for that movie, but it was just such a letdown. Like I was hoping it would just be like I didn't even have fun watching that movie. Like there wasn't even enough X-Men nostalgia fun there to make it like interesting. Or I was just like, I remember it's not often I leave a movie in a huff, and I was just like, like I gotta get out of here.
What did I just watch? I don't even know.
Yeah, and then like they go through that whole thing, and she sacrifices herself or whatever at the end, and we know that this is the last 20th Century Fox X-Men movie that we're gonna get, and they go through the whole thing of bothering to have a little epilogue scene of like, oh, there's a phoenix in the sky. She's not really dead. It's like, well, then why did we watch any of this?
Right.
If she's not, like, what are you teasing? You're teasing a movie that's never going to happen, a universe that is dead. Why are you doing this? Sorry.
Yep.
Clearly still getting sweaty about it, talking about it again. But not
I get you
usually when I like to, usually getting sweaty about nerd stuff means I'm passionate about it. And I guess I am passionate about it, but just not in the way that I would prefer to be passionate about it. So
that was the only of the Fox X-Men that I missed opening weekend on. And by the time opening weekend was done, I had heard enough horrible reviews that I just said screw it and waited until it was out on HBO. And then I watched it and fell asleep. I still have not seen the whole movie. And I really don't have any plans to go back for it.
The beginning was kind of the best part, like them going to rescue that thing in space and her getting the Phoenix Force. Like that was like, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then it just went super downhill after that. It just became a retread of X-Men 3, which is also bad. yeah, so you're not missing much. And that's actually how I watched Venom. I think I referenced that recently in the last couple episodes of the podcast. I had heard enough about it where I knew that it wasn't going to be what I wanted it to be at all. So I waited till it was on. I could rent it or whatever. And I was like, yep, I'm just going to go in with no expectations and try to have fun. And you know what? Going in like that kind of worked. So that's kind of what I'm going to do for Let There Be Carnage as well.
There you go.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. And that's all I got, Steve. Unless you have anything else, I think we could wrap this thing up.
No, I think we're good on that. If you guys want to, nope, that was the standard YouTube close. Feel free to subscribe to our channel on Twitch. If you want to check us out on YouTube, we'll be there as well, posting the videos. Check out the multiversereport.com. Any of our socials, Multiverse RPT on Twitter, the Multiverse Report on Facebook, Instagram, any other social media that we might be on. I think
those are the only three.
Or if you want to send us an email and do that whole long form thing, feel free at themultiversereport@gmail.com. Wow, that's a mouthful. So yeah, other than that, I guess we'll see you all next week.
We'll see y'all next week. If you want to comment, if you're watching live and you want to comment on our shirts, a couple weeks ago we got somebody that commented on our shirts, and ever since then I've been like high hopes for the comments, and I haven't gotten anything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I even upped the shirt game.
Yeah, dude, that's a pretty dope Spider-Man shirt, I gotta say.
Went for the Miles, and we talked about Miles this week too, so it worked out.
Hey, perfect. Anyway, yes, thank you so much for watching, listening, waiting until Tuesday for this episode. But next week we should be back on Sunday with another episode of the Multiverse Report. Until then, we'll see you around the multiverse.